Well, welcome back once again to Talking with Tech. My name is Lucas Stuber up here in not at all sunny Portland, Oregon, joined by Rachel Madel in LA. How are you?
Always sunny in LA. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. Always sunny in LA makes me think of Philadelphia for some reason there.
Which is where I'm from, so full circle.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, if you open a CD bar, we'll know why. And we are joined today by Gideon Grossman out of San Diego. How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm doing very well. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. So, one thing that we're really passionate about at Talking with Tech, and for those of that you've been listening for a little while, is the fact that technology has reached a point and manufacturing has reached a point that anybody with a really brilliant idea can take that idea and carry it to market, whether that's themselves through 3D printing or through things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And it sounds like that's what you've done. You've come up with something really, really unique and really fascinating, and you're taking it all the way. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've created.
Sure. I'm an engineer. I live down here in San Diego, and my day job is as a software developer. I'm really passionate about building my own products and my own toys in particular.
Cool.
This product that we're discussing today is one that I've been thinking about for 2 years now. And I first came up with the idea when I was acting kind of as a big brother to a family of 5 children. And they were such social children. We played a lot of hide and go seek and tag. And their mother, who taught them, she homeschooled them, gave them 2 hours a day to play on their iPads. And it made me unhappy to see these kids that had potential to be incredibly social people staring at a screen for 2 hours every day. So I said to myself, these aren't the only kids who are in this position in 2018. How can I use my engineering skills to create a toy that would encourage more face-to-face interaction, which these kids are wired to do inherently in a fun way? And that's how I came up with Noisy Bands. Noisy Bands are these bracelets that play sound effects when you give a friend a high five. And they are primarily, at this point, just a really fun toy. After meeting with various speech therapists down here in San Diego, I see that there's great potential for applying this toy in speech therapy strategies. And there are a few ideas I have in the pipeline for modifications and tweaking the toy to fit that role. So I'm really excited about all those possibilities, and really excited about the toy in general.
Great. Yeah, well, you nailed it. I mean, one of the things that we talk a lot about is the concept of social reciprocity, right? Which can be something as simple as responding to a question or, saying hello and greeting people correctly, all the way up to high fives, which also has this extra element of proprioceptive input, right? Of having the physical interaction, which can be challenging also sometimes for kids on the spectrum. So, this is cool. It gives them like a built-in fun incentive to do that.
Yeah. So I guess a few of the ideas that are floating around in my head are one, to do just that, to have the bracelets play sounds that when children hear them repetitively will become familiar with them, such as hello, how are you? And a second idea is to make a more mobile Go Talk type of device where it's wrapped around the wrist and very portable. And this would allow the child to choose the sound that he or she wants to have the bracelet play before giving a high five, or tweak the motion detection to 3, 2, 1, or tweak the motion detection to pick up various hand gestures and play sounds that correspond to those gestures.
That's great. That's you just, everything you just said are ideas that we've sort of been kicking around in the industry in terms of the idea of motion grammar, indicating, generating a certain phrase, all the way up to, to wearable devices. People have tried to do a lot of stuff with like the Apple Watch, for example. Part of the limitation there is the speaker, though. So from a hardware standpoint, like what does this thing look like? What's it capable of?
First of all, it's small. It's compact. It fits on a wrist very easily.
Okay.
Second of all, the speaker is quite loud for that size, and the nature of how you wear the bracelet so that the speaker faces outwards when you give a high five, and the opportunity to wear the bracelet in the reverse direction, depending on which hand gestures are going to be used, allows the sound to reach the friend or the family member pretty directly, and it's nice and clear. I haven't worked with Apple Watches much at all, so I don't have a comparison, but it's definitely audible, and the battery lasts a long time.
Cool. Okay, that's it. I was asked about battery life. Yep. So, all right. Since I'm the hardware nerd here, so I'm going to be quiet a little bit and let Rachel jump in. I apologize, Rachel.
No, you guys are talking about specifics. So what I would love to talk about is how can we actually use these, and how can speech therapists and parents use these in a, functional way, which it sounds like that's kind of in your wheelhouse and your thinking process is how can we use
I want
these
this to actually be useful and not just something that sounds like it can be useful. So really happy to be talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, we work with a lot of kids who are either completely nonverbal, not able to talk, or have, low speech intelligibility. So they're not understood. And a lot of times, they have devices and they have kind of communication systems set up. But what I love about this potential is the mobility component, right? Like being able to have it on you at all times. We have kids who are using speech generating devices and they're strapping them on their bodies and, having to carry them around or forgetting them in their backpack, like some of my kids. So it's just really nice having that portable, system that could be, somewhat basic with some basic needs on there as a way to supplement a high-tech speech generating device. So they can always have it with them, which I think is really a really cool idea. The other thing that I really love is just this like fun component, because, in order to get kids excited about communicating, it has to be fun. And I just love the social interaction piece, especially because kids with autism or kids who are nonverbal, who are using, alternative communication, it's not always, it's hard to get that peer acceptance. And if you can have something really cool and fun, like a high five that, promotes interaction and also, makes kids laugh and gets them engaged. I mean, I feel like that's a win-win for our kids especially, but, just
that's
in
really
general.
good to hear. Also to that point, that kind of is also a reason why children who are, I guess, neurotypical, or that might not be the proper term. I'm not completely savvy with the speech therapy lingo.
No,
that's a good one.
You're on it.
and also children who live with complex communication challenges would use the bracelets in a very similar way, and that also feeds into acceptance and familiarity. It kind of puts all children on the same plane of fun, and that's another thing that some therapists and teachers and parents have appreciated. So I've been taking some notes, Rachel, while you're talking to me, and
Rachel's full of wisdom. Yeah. Well, and I think you're absolutely right, because no kid wants to be the one that's carrying around, the communication briefcase computer thing, but everybody wants to be the one that has the awesome wristband that makes cool noises, especially if it can be customized or whatever for what they want to say. Well, as far as activating it, is it the high five motion? Like, could it be activated without an actual high five, like just moving the hand?
Yeah. Right now the sensor is very basic. It's a vibration sensor, so it picks up high fives. It also picks up if you wave your hand.
Okay.
And it's great. It's also too sensitive sometimes. That's why I'm still improving the design, and I'd like to replace that simple vibration sensor with what they call an accelerometer,
right,
where you can program the specific direction and speed in which the wrist moves.
Right. Perfect. Wow. I'm like having to bite my tongue because I have a million ideas for you. We'll have to have offline, but accelerometers can be great. I mean, I've put accelerometers inside of like preferred stuffed animals for kids, for example. So, we talk in speech pathology a lot about echolalia, which literally means just repeat speaking. So kids that'll maybe repeat the same phrase over and over again or script something from a movie. Well, there's the other thing we don't talk about as much called echopraxia, which is often like the hand flapping movements, the imitating simulating physical actions, and putting something like an accelerometer into a toy where a kid is being echopraxic and doing that flapping. I've seen that actually inspire sort of awareness of the behavior, right? So if they're flapping that toy and it's suddenly making a noise or causing something to happen, then they're like, well, wait a minute, maybe I wasn't even aware that I was doing that. Let me think about my, whatever that behavior is. And sometimes maybe they don't care and they just like the noise, but that's okay too, because I'm all about quality of life for these kids. So.
Well, that's very interesting.
Awesome.
Good.
So Gideon, tell us a little bit about how people can find your products, get your products. I know that you guys have a Kickstarter in July, but just tell us a little bit about what the future holds and how people can get a hold of this.
All right. First of all, noisybands.com. It's as simple as that. No one else took that name, so noisybands.com. noisybands.com. And from there, you can find a link to the Kickstarter campaign. Right now it is a draft that you can view, and I'm planning to launch the campaign July 4th weekend with discounts, and this is going to be for the first version of the product that is a toy with pre-programmed sounds. There's 5 characters with funny faces, and they all make different categories of sound effects. And from there, after launching the Kickstarter campaign and launching the product in the business, hopefully within 6 months, I'll have the second version out with the microphone and the button where you can re-record your own sounds and customize them. And so there's also a bunch of neat photos and videos at the Facebook and Instagram links from that same website. And honestly, feel free to reach me. I'd love to hear anybody's ideas of applications and modifications to the design, directions to go, because I know this community is really, really savvy with all those ideas. So reach out to me, and my contact information is at the bottom of that website.
And we will definitely link to all of those things in the show notes, so you don't need to be frantically writing them down, dear listeners. Gideon, it was so great having you on. I'm really excited about the potential of your product, and I think there's a lot of really great things that it can do for our community, especially.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention one really important detail about the product. So aside from directly being a tool for speech therapy, I'm also donating 5% of the proceeds to the Autism Society.
Oh, perfect.
Autism Society of America?
Yes.
Hey.
Well. Yeah.
Near and dear. Our last podcast that just aired was the CEO of Autism Society of America. So that is near and dear to our heart.
Wow. Right on.
So fantastic choice. I think that's great. I can't wait for the Kickstarter to launch. By the time you guys hear this podcast, it should be either about to launch or going to. So again, noisybands.com. We're speaking with Gideon Grossman. I asked you to introduce yourself. I do want to throw a few things in here because you're being way too humble. Okay. This is
okay.
Mechanical engineer, graduated from Princeton, right? Spent time in Tel Aviv. You've designed counterterrorism robots, stuff for Olympic athletes. I mean, I hope that people understand when we invite someone on the show, this isn't, we have a high degree of confidence in your success doing this. So I look forward to watching this with great interest, and I'll be one of the first in line to order for sure.
Amazing, Lucas. Actually, I have to, this is for the producer, I have to backtrack and clarify. Sure. 3, 2, 1. So another really exciting tidbit about this project is that I'm donating 5% of the proceeds to the Autism Society of America and the Friendship Circle. Those are 2 organizations that fund research and also provide services to individuals on the autism spectrum and with other communication disorders in their families.
Perfect.
That's it's one thing to find somebody who's a really talented engineer that could sort of be doing anything, and it's another to find someone who is that person, but still decides then to dedicate their time to give back to the community. And so
I appreciate that, Lucas.
Too. So, all right. Again, Mr. Gideon Grossman, check out noisybands.com. For Talking with Tech, this has been Lucas Stuber, joined by Rachel Madel, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Perfect.
All right. Hey, before you hang up, let me show you something really quick. Yeah, amazing. That was rad, dude, by the way. Thank you. And that was fun. That was my first time ever being in a podcast.